Hey there, friends! Picture this, you're sipping your morning coffee, scrolling through your emails, and bam, a headline hits you right between the eyes: SSI benefits just got updated for 2025. That's not just a whisper of change, that's a shout from the rooftops. And today, we're breaking it down in plain English, no fluff, no jargon, just the facts you need to know, straight from the latest updates issued by the federal government. Whether you're currently receiving Supplemental Security Income, SSI, applying for it, or have a loved one depending on this benefit, this video could be the most important thing you watch all week. So, grab your coffee, tea, or whatever keeps you focused, because we're diving into exactly what's changed, why it matters, and how it could impact your finances this year and beyond. Let's start by discussing what triggered this update in the first place. The nation's economic climate has been unpredictable, and that's putting it mildly. Inflation continues to stretch household budgets, with the cost of basic necessities rising at a rate that's been difficult for low-income Americans to keep up with. In response, both economic policy think tanks and grassroots advocates have been urging the Social Security Administration, SSA, to reevaluate SSI payments. Their voices were heard. For 2025, the federal government approved a cost of living adjustment, COLA, of 3.6%, a shift that translates into a tangible difference for millions of beneficiaries. Let's unpack what this COLA really means. In 2024, the maximum federal benefit for an individual receiving SSI was $943 per month. With the COLA applied for 2025, that number has increased to about $977 monthly. For couples, the increase is even more noticeable, jumping from $1,415 to approximately $1,466 per month. That might not sound life-changing to everyone, but for someone counting every single dollar to make it through the month, that boost could mean affording a copay, extra groceries, or utilities without panic. These increases also come with broader implications for budgeting and state-level assistance. Many states provide supplemental SSI benefits, and most of them tie those amounts to the federal benefit. This means that as the federal SSI increases, the state supplements may also be adjusted. States like California, New York, and Michigan are already in talks about whether their supplemental benefits will see similar raises. If you're in one of these states, it's worth checking with your local SSA office or your state's Human Services Department. But here's something many people overlook: the financial eligibility limits for SSI haven't changed in decades. As of now, to qualify for SSI, your assets must remain below $2,000 if you're single or $3,000 if you're married. That's barely enough to cover a basic emergency these days. However, lawmakers are under increasing pressure to raise these outdated thresholds. There's bipartisan interest in making a change, especially since inflation has exposed just how unlivable those limits have become. While no official legislation has passed yet, insiders report that increasing the resource limits is now on the legislative docket for 2025. What's also worth noting is how swiftly these new SSI payment amounts have started rolling out. In previous years, beneficiaries sometimes waited weeks or even months to see changes reflected in their bank accounts. But this time around, thanks to technology upgrades at the SSA and pressure from watchdog groups, the updated amounts are hitting bank accounts much earlier. Most recipients have already noticed the boost in their January or February disbursements. And if you haven't? Double-check your MySSA online account or reach out directly to your local Social Security office. A minor technical error or an outdated mailing address could be the reason your payment hasn't arrived as expected. Moreover, let's not forget the disabled children and elderly adults who rely on SSI for survival. In several states, pilot programs are currently testing expanded eligibility criteria and revised calculations for these vulnerable groups. For example, one program in Illinois is experimenting with not counting certain household contributions as income, which could help more people qualify. These programs could signal a broader move toward a more compassionate and practical interpretation of eligibility rules. There's also a growing awareness around the limitations many SSI recipients face when trying to find affordable housing, medical care, and transportation. With the boost in payments, advocacy groups are calling on cities and states to do more to integrate SSI recipients into public support services. We're seeing local governments consider discounted transit passes for SSI recipients, automatic enrollment in food assistance programs like SNAP, and even rental support expansions that would directly tie eligibility to SSI status. What's more, many employers and community-based organizations are being urged to offer part-time or flexible job opportunities tailored for those on SSI, especially those with disabilities. There's a fine line between earning too much and losing benefits, and several states are reviewing their work incentive programs to avoid penalizing people who try to improve their financial situation while staying within SSA guidelines. Finally, communication is key. If you're unsure whether you're receiving the full benefits you're entitled to, now is the perfect time to review your eligibility. Call the SSA, visit their website, or speak with an accredited advocate or social worker. You may qualify for more than you think, especially with these new changes in place. Knowledge truly is power when it comes to federal benefits. Stay informed, stay prepared, and don't let bureaucratic confusion keep you from what you've rightfully earned. Because in 2025, SSI isn't just a benefit, it's becoming a lifeline. One significant development in 2025 is the automation of overpayment recovery. Previously, overpayment notices would often come with little warning, and repayment demands could overwhelm recipients who were unaware that they had even been overpaid. Now, with automated systems in place, the Social Security Administration is aiming to flag potential overpayments earlier and alert beneficiaries in real time. This approach allows recipients to rectify discrepancies quickly or provide documentation that can halt erroneous clawbacks. However, this new process comes with a trade-off: increased surveillance. Beneficiaries should be mindful that minor changes in income, assets, or living arrangements may now trigger quicker investigations. Another important update concerns the retroactive benefit adjustments. The SSA has announced a review process for thousands of beneficiaries who may have received less than their full entitlement due to misclassification or documentation issues in previous years. These retroactive payments, which could amount to thousands of dollars for some, will be rolled out gradually throughout 2025. For individuals who qualify, notices will be sent by mail and email, and the funds will be deposited directly into the same account used for monthly SSI deposits. While this is welcome news for many, it also emphasizes the importance of keeping personal information, such as mailing addresses and banking details, current with SSA records. The 2025 update also expands the definition of disability under SSI qualifications. This means individuals with conditions previously deemed marginally disqualifying, such as certain autoimmune disorders, mental health conditions, or episodic illnesses, may now qualify for benefits. This change aligns with a broader push to make Social Security programs more inclusive and reflective of modern medical understanding. If you or a loved one were previously denied benefits under older, narrower definitions, now may be the time to reapply or file an appeal under the new eligibility guidelines. Another noteworthy change is the asset limit adjustment proposal. Although it has not yet passed into law, there is mounting pressure on Congress to increase the resource limit from $2,000 for individuals and $3,000 for couples to a more realistic threshold. Many advocacy groups argue that the current limits, untouched since 1989, discourage savings and force beneficiaries to remain in a perpetual state of financial insecurity. While the final decision on this change is still pending, it's important to remain informed, as a revision could substantially change how SSI recipients manage their personal finances. Looking at monthly disbursements, beneficiaries can expect the continuation of staggered payment schedules depending on the recipient's birth date and enrollment status. The first week of each month remains the standard for most direct deposits, but new enrollees may see their checks arrive on the second or third Wednesdays. SSA's digital tools and the My Social Security portal have also been upgraded to offer more accurate tracking and even push notifications about payment status changes, delays, or approvals. Also of note is the increased collaboration between SSA and state Medicaid offices. In previous years, a lack of coordination often resulted in duplicate reporting requirements or missed eligibility for other programs such as SNAP or housing assistance. Starting in 2025, a new data sharing initiative has been launched to ensure that those receiving SSI are seamlessly evaluated for other benefits without the need for repetitive applications. This integration should reduce red tape and expedite access to critical services, especially for elderly or disabled individuals with limited mobility or technological access. Some beneficiaries have expressed concern about recent talks surrounding the use of biometric verification for account access. While the SSA has confirmed pilot testing facial recognition and fingerprint login features, officials have stated that these are strictly optional and will not replace traditional methods. That said, users opting for these tools may experience faster login times and enhanced security. However, privacy advocates caution that such technologies should be implemented with strong data protection protocols to avoid misuse or identity theft. In terms of outreach, SSA has ramped up efforts to keep beneficiaries informed through multiple channels. Targeted email campaigns, text alerts, and even robocalls are being used to communicate benefit updates, eligibility reviews, and upcoming deadlines. The SSA has warned the public to be vigilant about impersonation scams that may mimic these communication styles. Official messages will never ask for personal information such as your social security number or bank account login via phone or email. Always verify the source before responding to any message regarding your benefits. Finally, it's worth mentioning that the SSA is exploring the possibility of regional adjustments in benefit amounts based on cost of living data. While not yet in effect, this initiative would help better support recipients in high-cost areas such as California, New York, or urban centers where basic living expenses far exceed the national average. This means that two SSI recipients with identical profiles may eventually receive different monthly amounts, adjusted for local inflation and living conditions. The goal is to create a more equitable distribution of aid, though critics argue it may complicate the simplicity of the program. As we continue to navigate these changes, staying informed is your best defense. Beneficiaries should regularly check their My Social Security accounts, read all SSA correspondence thoroughly, and consider speaking with a benefits advisor or legal representative if any part of their benefit status changes. The landscape of supplemental security income in 2025 is rapidly evolving, and being proactive could mean the difference between missed opportunities and financial stability. Thanks again for sticking with us through this comprehensive breakdown. If you found this helpful, make sure to share it with others who rely on SSI benefits. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay empowered. Until next time.